Hi, I'm Suzanne Heskey, historian general and a member of the Wright administration.
And this is the DAR Today Podcast.
Well, I'm Brooke, Bullmaster Stewart, your DAR Today Podcast Committee Chair. We thought it would be really fun for this last episode of the Wright administration's podcast to have Suzanne Heskey do that opener for us, along with some of the other executive board members. So thank you all so much for doing that for us. This is Monday, today that this is premiering, that this episode is premiering, and this is the week of Continental Congress. Whether you are coming or not, it is a week to enjoy for all DAR members because it's so amazing now, right, with technology that we can be in Washington, D.C. or not and still get to enjoy so much of Continental Congress. My bags are getting packed, my suitcases are out and getting packed for getting ready to get there, and we hope to see so many of you there. But again, those who cannot come, there are so many ways to engage, and we will have a segment at the end of this podcast talking about that. We had a segment last year that we thought was kind of fun, 10 best tips and tricks to enjoy Continental Congress, to get the most out of it, whether you're there or not. We modified it a little bit for this year, and so we'll be playing that today. Now, on Thursday of this week, be sure to notice it won't be a full episode that will premiere, but there will be a special little announcement that will premiere on Thursday. So if you're listening to the podcast, it will pull up on that platform. If you watch it on YouTube, it will pull up on there. So we hope you like that little announcement segment. And then Friday night, if you are at Continental Congress, all of the committees, it's Sparkle and Service Night, it's called, that evening, Friday evening, they'll all be represented there, and you can visit all of the tables, find out what you're interested in, or go to the tables that you really have a keen interest in and you want to learn more about them. Go talk to them there. And our DAR Today Podcast Committee will be there, so pop on by and meet the committee. It'd be really fun to have you there. Now, you may remember that about a month ago or so, we asked our subscribers and our listeners what they wish they would have known when they were a new member. What's one thing that you could pass along that I wish I would have known this, or maybe I wish I would have known this a little bit better? So here were your answers that you gave, and we wanted to share some of those with you now because they're really interesting and thought-provoking. Kim Tennison, chapter regent of Joshua Stevens chapter in Florida, writes, "The one thing I wish someone would have told me as a new member is to take the new members course as soon as possible. It gave me such a deeper appreciation for DAR and everything daughters do in their communities. That's when I fell in love with DAR." I love that. Kristen Johnson of Old Spanish Trail chapter in Nevada wrote in to say, "When I first joined DAR 13 years ago, I wish that someone had told me how to get involved. I had no idea how much fun we have or how many important projects we work on. I went to a meeting and no one told me anything. Sadly, I didn't do anything for almost 10 years, and then I figured out how to get involved, and now I love it." I also love this note from Nancy Herritage of the South Carolina DAR. She's their state librarian. She says, and I quote, "The one thing I wish someone would have told me 34 years ago when I became a member is join committees that relate to something you are interested in. I came from a military family, so Project Patriot was a perfect fit for me. National Defense is another committee that I've really enjoyed. I also found it fun to join committees that I knew little or nothing about. What a learning experience to step out of one's own comfort zone. DAR is full of fun people, new ideas, and opportunities to serve God, home, and country," end quote. Another South Carolina daughter, Kate Fowler, chimed in. She's from the Nathaniel Green chapter, and she's just been a member since September of last year. She writes, and I quote, "I'm a relatively new member, but did something early on that I think would be helpful for other members. I tend to overcommit myself," we can all relate, "to committees. So this time I focused on the committees I was interested in and decided to take each committee leader out to coffee and see how I jived with them and to decide which of the only committees I would join. It was really fun and it was an informative process. I decided to focus on the America 250 committee." Perfect choice, Kate. She also went on to give some very kind remarks to us as a podcast committee, saying how much she's enjoyed the fact that the podcast really helps her understand so much about DAR, etc. Well, thanks, Kate. I think that's really one of the main goals that our President General had in instituting this podcast, is to help new members, but also members that just don't know about some of the other committees and things that are happening out there. So thank you again for the kind words. Now, Nancy Miller from Virginia wrote in and said, when I first joined DAR, I wish I would have been told to get involved immediately, because you will meet some very interesting, accomplished women who will become your lifelong friends. Isn't that the truth, Nancy? One last cute note from Julie Stangler of Yates Mill Chapter, Cary, North Carolina, and the North Carolina State Society Recording Secretary. She says, Dear Brooke and the podcast team, I've heard that wishes come in sets of 3, so here is my hat trick of wishes. Number 1, take the leaders course, especially the members course. Number 2, explore the national website. It's a treasure trove of information. And number 3, buy the President General's pin as soon as it's available and enjoy wearing it for 3 years. Oh, Julie, I couldn't agree more. You know, when that DAR season starts again in August or September or whenever it is for you in your chapter, you're going to want to have the new President General's pin to wear to those meetings. So I definitely recommend getting that early on in the summer if you're not here at Continental Congress. What is something you could tell a new member in your chapter? If you see somebody, sit down, talk with them, perhaps mentor them. Even if you feel like you've only been in a few years yourself, you could learn together. And in sitting down by them, you just might be sitting down to your new best friend. We've had a wonderful podcast committee for 3 years, and we really appreciate every member. We'd love for you to hear from some of them today. Some of them are a little camera shy, so they didn't want to send in a video, but we do have some to play for you now. But before we go, for the last time, hey, thanks so much for being here with us today and always.
Hello, daughters. Being a writer and one of your national vice chairs on this podcast under the Wright administration, working with you and our incredible committee, it has just been so rewarding. I just can't say that enough. I feel like we've had a chance to bring a few stories to life, stories that reflect who we are as daughters and our shared history. So it's been an honor to serve and contribute to this podcast that celebrates Stars and Stripes forever in the right way. So that strengthens our voices as a society on what we have been doing here. It's been incredible.
Hi, I'm Etta Reid, and I just want to say it's been a privilege and an honor to serve on this groundbreaking DAR Podcast Committee. 3 years. The best to you all, especially to our President General, Pamela Rouse Wright, who has led us to sparkling heights. Stars and Stripes forever. God bless America.
I'm Lenna Hoffman, and I'm a current National Vice Chair for the DAR Today Podcast. My favorite part about working on the podcast was helping amplify voices of members, those who are National Vice Chairs, those who are just members in general, amplifying the work that they do. That's been very special, and just meeting members throughout the whole country. It's been a privilege to work on the podcast.
Hi, I'm Paula Macko. I've been in DAR 20 years this July, and I love DAR. But I have to say, being a member of the DAR Today Podcast Committee just blew my mind with the amazing works that the DAR daughters do nationwide as well as worldwide. Through the stories that were done, I was just blown away by the depth of amazing things that the daughters do. Mrs. Wright, thank you so much for creating this committee. Thank you for asking me to be on the committee. It was truly an honor. Thank you.
Continental Congress really is for every member, whether you're able to attend or not. Imagine just not that many years ago when you weren't able to take advantage of live streams, when there wasn't social media to be able to check and see what's going on. Maybe you saw a few pictures and you would hear what happened from others, but it's not like that anymore. So we want to take advantage of everything that's offered. So here are our 10 best tips and tricks to take advantage, again, whether you're attending or not, to be able to really enjoy Continental Congress to the full. Okay, number one, whether or not you love it, social media. Social media is a great way to engage with Continental Congress, whether you're there in person or not, because there's only so many things that are covered on that live stream, right? There's so many other events. So if you check social media, then you'll be able to see all of the things that your friends and others in other states are doing, especially with hashtags. Now you may say, what's a big deal about hashtags? Or what's a hashtag? Regardless, if you think about it this way, a hashtag is just like an index. Now, in your doing your genealogy research, let's say you're searching in a big, huge book, you look in the index in the back and see how many times or where that name is listed and located. So let's say you find Stewart's on page 250, for example. You go to page 250 and there they are. So it's kind of like that with social media. You can scroll through and hope that you see something about Continental Congress, or you could look up a hashtag. And any post where they've added that hashtag to their post, it'll show up. Also, if you'd like to know a little bit more about hashtags, how they work, especially with regard to our DAR activities, this National Vice Chair, when she was one years ago, created a video all about hashtags and again, using it in our DAR work. So we'll leave a link in the show notes so that you can see that. It's from years ago, but the information is still valid. So we hope you check that out. Now, tip number 3, for those not attending, wouldn't it be so fun if you planned a get-together with some of your other DAR members? Doesn't have to be your whole chapter, 1 or 2 or 3, whatever fits in your living room and would be fun. And join with everyone during the opening ritual. Stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance and the American's Creed and all of it with us, because we are all DAR sisters together. Wouldn't that be so fun? And then as an added benefit, you get to be on your cozy couch and in your very comfortable living room. So that's kind of cool. But speaking of very comfortable, for those in attendance then, we have tip number 4, and that is to make sure that you bring a wrap with you for any event that happens in Constitution Hall, because it can get really chilly, as so many have heard. But what if you forget your wrap? Well, we have tip number 5, and that is visit the Crossnor School sales table there in the lobbies, and you can pick up a wrap. These wraps are made by the students there at Crossmore, and this will be a cherished possession for years to come. I know mine is. I've had mine for 5 years now, and I don't attend Congress without it. And a large wrap is a perfect way to cover up your insignia on your left side when you're going to and from the hall. So it's a twofer. Tip number 7, we always, whether or not we're in attendance, want to check out that Congress Herald every day. But the really cool thing too is check out the Congress photography. Remember though, not all photos are uploaded on the day events happen. We're all volunteers and many wear multiple hats. So do check back for the couple of weeks following Congress to see all the photos. And if you find a friend or a great shot of someone that you know, be sure to download it and send it to them. How great would that be to let them know you're thinking of them? Tip number 8, go to the Daughters Online Community, or some call it the DOC, and check out the Continental Congress Committee page and also any other applicable pages. There are so many discussions there to learn from and with which to engage. Tip number 9, bring more small bills than you think you need. You almost always run out, right? We all do run out of small bills. We all share cabs together going to and from the venues. We all share Ubers or the cost of Ubers. So there's no harm, no foul if you want to go ahead and bring more small bills than you think you need, because you can always bring them back home, right?
We leave you today with this quote by Montserrat Wadsworth. Our ancestors' pictures hang on our walls, but their personalities and characteristics, struggles and successes are woven into our souls. Well, thanks for listening, and be well, dear friends. Let's celebrate the stars and stripes forever, and remember, with all of your ancestors behind you, you are the result of the love of thousands. This podcast is written and produced by our incredible team of writers and editors, and we are, as always, so grateful for President General Pamela Rouse Wright and Historian General Suzanne Heskey for their constant guidance. To Cynthia Parnell and Susan Metzger, Cece McNamara and Virginia Lingelbach. And to Kim Tennison, Kristen Johnson, Nancy Herritage, Kate Fowler, Nancy Miller, and Julie Stangler for being so generous with their time. The National Society Daughters of the American Revolution is a nonprofit, non-political, volunteer women's service organization dedicated to promoting patriotism, preserving American history, and securing America's future through better education for children. Members are all lineal descendants of those who supported the cause of independence in the Revolutionary War. For more information, please visit dar.org. This is the DAR Today Podcast.